Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. I have a story that was shared with me coming out of Canton, Michigan. I decided to cover this story because I spent the majority of my life in Michigan and I am very familiar with Canton. As a matter of fact, I used to have a paper route in Canton, Michigan, and so I'm very familiar with the area. And I'm not surprised at all at the story that I'm about to share with you. Not surprised at all. Now, the story is about some children playing dodgeball at school. And there's a little black boy who had the ball, and he threw it and apparently struck another child. And they claimed that the child was injured as a result of playing dodgeball. But the mother of the injured child is pursuing charges against the 10-year-old. Now, the boy and his mom are frantic. In the video clip, he and his mom were both crying, rightfully so. Now, although whenever a child is injured, it doesn't matter what their color is. Their color is, of course, is a tragic thing. But when it's a case of an activity that's going on at the school, I'm trying to figure out why they want to file charges against this 10-year-old child. Now, they say it was done intentionally. Still, we are talking about a schoolyard thing that happened. Okay? Now, I'm going to talk about the solution because there's always a solution to these woes that we go through. But first, we have to talk about the problem. Okay? The issue at hand is that a 10-year-old boy is being charged for the injury of another child while they were playing a game. A game that, like the mother stated, all of us have played dodgeball. I remember playing dodgeball in the school gym as a young child. It was actually a part of the school activities, physical activity. And so now, if you can start filing charges, then maybe the children shouldn't play. My thing is this. If the mother knew that her son had certain pre-existing conditions, why is she letting him play any type of physical activity? Why don't she put him, someone stated in the comment section, they said, why don't she put him in the library somewhere? Put him somewhere safe away from other children so that he doesn't have to sustain these types of injuries. Because when you're on the playground, when you're in the gym, and you're playing with other children, sometimes children play rough. Now, we're not talking about a fight that broke out. We're talking about dodgeball. Now, they're trying to claim that he hit the boy in the face on purpose. When you're playing dodgeball, it's very, very difficult, especially we're talking about 10-year-olds. We're talking about 10-year-olds here. To say that he did it on purpose, of course they can say that. But how can you say that he hit him in the face on purpose? Okay, I'm not meaning to sound insensitive, but we know that while playing sports at school, children are always injured. And I believe that the mother was negligent. If you know your son has a condition, why are you even allowing him to have physical activity with other children? Not being insensitive, I'm just stating the facts. And I do know that sometimes children can be mischievous. But in this case, we're not talking about a fight that broke out. We are talking about children playing dodgeball. That's what we're talking about. Let me say it again for some of you who like to say that we are just stirring up more emotions here in America because you're reprobate in mind. They were playing dodgeball. Children play dodgeball. They have physical activity in school. Now, I want to say this much. There are a number of times with my older son, Aliyah, and my older daughter, they were both injured in public school and private school. My son, Aliyah, when he was in a majority white school in Michigan, a kid stabbed him in the hand, and it wasn't a black kid, okay? Stabbed him in the hand. And he had a hole in the middle of his hand. And when we asked the teacher about it, she brushed it off like it was just kids playing. Now, when Elijah decided that he was going to defend himself the next day, that's when we finally got a call from the teacher. When we asked them about how our son was injured, when we called them and we spoke to them, oh, it was no big deal. Children just playing. Accidents happen. But when my son decided to defend himself the next go round, we got a phone call. And so what we are dealing with in this country is hypocrisy. It is hypocrisy. And so now I'm not going to harp on this too long because you all know that I can say a whole lot about this, but I'm kind of tired of talking about these things. You see, kind of tired of it. But because there is a solution for this particular thing, I want to say it to our people. Anyone who is in the situation where your children are in public school, if it's within your power to educate them at home or send them somewhere else or allow someone else to educate them, do that. Get them out of these systems because the school system for our children has never worked. Now, some of you may argue and say, well, it worked for mine. I'm talking about the majority. The miseducation of the Negro. That's what I'm talking about. And even for those who think that it did work for them, if you look closer, it really didn't. Because you're indoctrinated with information that's false. They give you their false narrative of history. I mean, of course, math is a universal thing. You can learn math and you can do, and usually when someone's good at math, it doesn't matter where they go, they're going to be good at it. Our daughter Hannah is really, really good at math. And it had nothing to do with the public school. It had everything to do with her abilities to comprehend what we teach her at home. And her ability to apply what she knows from her own interest in math. And so to think that your children all of a sudden become bright and brilliant because they're in public school, no. That brilliance was already there. Already there. And so the solution for our people is to come out from among them and be ye separate. Now, I know some of you don't like to hear that. Many of you Gentiles, you just don't get it. You may say, well, I'm not that way. We're not talking about you. We're not talking about the handful that are not that way. We're talking about those who continue to inflict persecution upon our children, our men, women, young, old. We don't have time to sort through and say, okay, this one is nice, that one is nice. If you pay attention and look around at what's happening to our people around the world, not just in this country, then you can see where we're coming from. But many of you choose to have a blind eye and a deaf ear to what we experience in this country and around the world. As a matter of fact, there was an incident where there was some obvious discrimination going on when you had the security guard who tried to apprehend a black police officer. And in the comment section, you saw those who were saying this had nothing to do with race. They're tired of hearing about race. That he would have done the same thing if it was a white police officer. That's a person who is delusional beyond repair. They know good and well that this white security guard would not have done that to a white police officer. And to add insult to injury, those who worked at the IRS, when they called the police, they said there's a man here with a gun refusing to leave. They didn't identify him as a police officer because there is something going on in their minds that is beyond repair. There's a spiritual deficiency there, a moral deficiency, and a hypocrisy that is off the charts. And so our only solution for those who will have an ear is to simply come out from among them and be ye separate. Homeschool, educate your own at home. Because what we have been doing is simply not working. Okay, family, with that I will say shalom.